All right, let's move on then to some friends. That's what, yeah.
Okay, I want you to talk about the friendships first.
I mean, the list is because my family is non-existent. My friends have always been my family. So like this part of Soulmates connects the deepest with me because everywhere I've lived, I've had to like create a group that was just like I felt like super close, super bonded, and I don't know why, I don't know how. Like it always evolves like that.
Yeah.
It just does, and I mean, it's too many lists to count. There was it's obviously it starts in the workplace, but when I was in the hospital, like even that corpus had a little nucleus, and then B Dubs, Buffalo Wild Wings, where we met. Like that was one of the best times ever. That friend group, just because.
I love that group.
Yeah, and that's what we all hated the job. We hated the hours. We hated everything. The man, yeah, the fucking everything, the outwork, like everything about it. But I think like till we die, we will still all be connected somehow. Like everybody through somehow, like those people be connected. Like whether we hate each other, like each other, don't matter. And
That's actually one of the stories that I was going to talk about once you finish your friendships was when we went to our coworker's house. That we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up because that's important. But yes, anyway.
but yeah, they're all the only one that, well, not the only one, but my friend Steven, who I was adopted, and then I met him like 2 years after I was adopted. So I know him pretty much as long as I know anyone in my life. And
Yeah.
obviously that friendship is like a brother. And I'm very good at just from moving and going on. I guess I get really invested fast, and then I'm okay if they dissipate. Like I treat them for I treat friendships better than my love soulmates. Definitely. I wish I probably would treat my love soulmates more like my friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really enjoy them in the moment and have as much fun in the moment with them and get as much out of them. And then I understand when they go away that people move on and life happens. But if they do reappear, like it's even better because the history you have with friends is something that you can't re trace, reconnect with someone else. Kind of
Yeah,
why it's hard to compete with an ex-lover because someone who you have history with, it's just hard to compete with that.
exactly. It's basically like starting over, and sometimes you just don't have that connection again.
Mhm.
So it's a lot easier, I think, having friend soulmates, like you said, versus relationship soulmates. Because, well, if you're social with people like we are, I'm sure there's some people who's like friendship soulmates.
Yeah. It's me, myself, and I, my dog, and then my boyfriend. No.
Literally, yeah, that's it. That's it, Chief.
So, what are some of your friends, soulmates that you've had over the years?
Oh, okay. So definitely my best friend, the one that I was talking about since I
Emily.
was London. That is, yeah, Emily is literally my best. That is like my soul mate. Like nobody compares to this bitch. Okay, like it's just what it is. Number one, forever and always. Right. So that's definitely my
Oh,
biggest soul. Go ahead.
to cut you off. Sorry. With Emily, do you? Because I feel this way a little with Steven. Do you wish like when you're like 80, like even if you're married, like let's just like leave our spouse and go live in a house together when we're old? Because I'd rather just hang with you all day.
So literally, this is so funny that I can't believe that you're bringing this up. I'm just gonna fucking say it. I'm just gonna speak on it. So it's hilarious, right? So when we were younger, we were always just like, "Fuck this!" Like we're basically just gonna grow up. We're gonna get like government married. We're not gonna be together. Like you still do your thing. I still do my thing. Like you have your man friendses. I have my man friendses. But we come home, we be together, and that's just what it is. Like we don't want to deal with the bullshit. We don't want none of the fuckery. Now, she just recently got engaged, so I can't argue with that. So I'm like, okay, but I'm just gonna live in your basement for the rest of forever. That's so yeah, but it was like I said, it was like an odd start to it because I would have never thought that it would have evolved into a soulmate friendship just because of the initial reaction. But or the initial meeting, and just like I've always been very sensitive. She's a Scorpio. She's very straightforward. She's very direct. She's from Philly, so straight to it. You know what I'm saying? And me, I cry over everything. So of course, initially it was like, what is going on? But then, you know, once you kind of like onion, you peel back the layers, you know. But yeah, so that's definitely my longest, I guess you could say, soulmate friendship. In a weird way, I don't know if this counts, but like my cousin Maddie, right? So it's like weird because she's my cousin, but she was adopted into the family when she was 7 weeks old.
Okay.
So, but literally, it's, yes, we grew up together and everything, but if you see me and my cousin together, it's just like we're literally the same human. It's crazy, but we have the same like wavelength. We connect on every single level. I feel like that's something that's a very important in friendship. We have just such an understanding when it comes to each other. We're both very empathetic, so we just know like how to work with each other. I don't know. It's just we're always in sync. I didn't talk to this girl for years, which that's a conversation that when my podcast comes out, she and I are going to sit down and we'll talk about it. Yeah, we've been planning that, but we didn't talk for years. And I'm talking like 10 years, probably over that, almost over 10 years. And then I saw her one day and it was like nothing ever happened. It was like I talked to her every single day over the past 10 years. It's just, you never skip a beat. So those are, I think, two of like my most important friendship relationships. But then in a weird way, my significant other, it's weird because I see him more as, even though we're romantically involved and I want to stay that way, but the way that our connection is, I feel like I have more of a friendship in him than anything. That was something that was weird with us because,
Oh no, I love that though.
yeah, I feel more comfortable in saying that this is the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with, but you're like my friendship soulmate. Like I genuinely have a true friend in him. I tell him everything. He's just there to listen. He's not judgmental. He's very supportive and is always in my corner. Even when we weren't together, I could always depend and count on him. So we have a very, very strong foundation in that. So I believe that he's my friendship soulmate. That's fucking weird, but that's just a couple.
No, that's a good couple. I think that's a good couple.
Thank you.
You
I
are.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
So what are your?
So you want to move on to the bad now? We're moving on to the bad. Are you done with your good?
I'm done with my good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
good? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's,
you want to kick off the bad?
yeah, let's get
Let's
it
talk
started.
about it.
Talk about it. Talk.
Let's put the beer down. Bree's getting lit. Okay. Anyways.
See, and most of my friendships end good. They end very casually. Like time just, like I said, it's a river. One river flows this way in and out. Sometimes our streams cross, they stay in and out, and then we go separate ways. But I had this friend, and see, no, I had this.
We'll call him. What do you want to call this friend? We'll give him a name.
Let's call this friend Tom, because Tom created Facebook, right? He was the white guy on Facebook.
I'm Dick and Harry. No, but yeah, no, Tom was the white guy that created. No, MySpace.
MySpace, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
MySpace, sorry. Yeah.
No, you're good.
Mark Zuckerberg. So Tom, grew up in Oklahoma, a little suburb in Oklahoma, average middle class family, white guy, 6'3". And when I moved here, we were one of those connections instantly. Like first night, I trained him at work. We went out, had drinks, partied, like literally first night we met. And
yeah.
no, then we hung out a little bit after that, but then he left the job. And then like 6 months later, we reconnected again. And then ever since then, we're best friends, traveled, everything, hung out 4 or 5 times a week, worked together for like 4 years. And, most soulmates, you think friends or not, just dissipate. And I'm very, very cordial, but this one ended badly in terms of just because it just sucks when you care about someone and you want to see them succeed and want them to, do the best and the best for them and their family. And it's just when they're on a self-destructive path, whether it's, I don't know about his alcohol, but everyone else will comment on his alcohol. I'm like, I can never comment on someone else's, choices. Like if they can control themselves and handle themselves, that's on them. Like how they say the first step in admitting you have a problem, or first step in having a problem is admitting you have a
Admitting
problem.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hardest part, for real.
Yeah.
It really is.
Like I can't tell him he has a problem. Like that's up to him. And
Yeah.
with different life decisions, with different choices being, he would never admit that being a white man gave him any privilege.
Mm. And
That
that, yeah, that's enough to do the damage to no longer, because like you said, you can be empathetic and hear what he's going through and see, even if like you said, you can't observe, say that he had an alcohol problem, but you could observe and see like, okay, like I know you're going through certain things, I'm still going to be here. That was the self-destructive path, exactly. But lost my train of thought. I hate when this happens. That's okay. You see that they're on a self-destructive path, and then at that point it hurts the most because you would do anything that you could to help, but they don't want to help themselves. And when you don't want to help yourself in that situation, it's really unfortunate because you do have a choice to stay in that situation, but a lot of the times you go down that path as well, because once you're in, it's, yeah. So that's rough to have somebody, you empathize with them, but when it comes down to something that's real life,
yeah,
something that you have to deal with every day, that's something, you know what I'm saying, over the color of your skin, and you can't at least hear what you have to say and be understanding about that, that's the point that I was trying to get at, is that he couldn't even be respectful enough to hear who's supposed to be his best friend. That's who you're supposed to listen to the most and be there for and support. You don't have to agree, but that's something that it's not agree to disagree. And we can be fine. Like, no, you either with us or you against us, and there's no in between.
oh,
But anyway, sorry,
yeah.
I had to say
And,
that.
oh no, and especially we all know what happened in 2020. We know
Oh,
what happened from Oklahoma to New York to Portland to
Virginia.
LA. Yeah,
We was
Virginia.
live in this bitch too.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave y'all out. But yeah, and then I remember just saying that he couldn't prove it. He couldn't prove that like white privilege existed.
How
And
could you not?
because you can't measure it, that you can't,
Mm.
in his definition of measuring it, they can find other ways to measure it, but that obviously doesn't fit. And then obviously with what went on, I just, yeah, went from having someone who I traveled more with than anyone else in my life, texting endlessly days a week, like up at night, group text, group everything, to I've been here for what, 8 months now, and we saw each other once because saw each other in public, like a mutual friends, and said hi. And
then that was like, oh, that's the worst too. Once you have like that bond and that relationship and that friendship, that's the worst part, that when you get comfortable in having like a soulmate friendship with somebody, and then like it's the most awkward thing when you go back out in public, you see them like months later, and it's like you literally feel like you're with a stranger. Like, did I ever? And that's weird.
yeah. So get into yours. You all your soulmate friendships can't end pretty. They
Wow, do you think I'm just messy?
I told you most
All your friendships just can't end peaceful, girls. So
you're
what's your
describing
messy?
these lifetime achievement award on friendships here. So I'm like, okay, you got to burn some.
That's one. That's it. I feel like all my other who I felt like were my soulmate friendships just like didn't work out. One of like my like most favorite soulmate friendships like didn't work out. I was best friends with this person for like over 5 years. That's literally somebody that I was with from the second that I met her. Every single day after that, if we weren't together, we were texting, or it literally went as far as not only was I with you every single day, but we're working together. When we're not working together, we're going back home together. If we're going out, we're going out together. If you know what I'm saying. And that whole situation had to, unfortunately, come to, like, I never wanted it to get to that. I think that's what's the hardest, is that, and I'll say this, I just need to make this very, like, apparent and, like, known, just like right now, that I have, like, and I know that you don't either in your story, but I just want to make it clear, like, I have, like, no ill intent versus this person. I miss this person very much. Like, I love this person with my whole heart. If this person ever were to reach out to me and they're like, hey, just like, how are you, or I need to talk to you, like, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Like, it's nothing like that. So I'll still always have that love in that sense. But unfortunately, like, there was a reason, that I had to leave Oklahoma and, come move out here to Richmond. And I really had to kind of get my life together and everything. And the path that I was going down when I was in Oklahoma with this person was really destructive. And it's not that person's fault. I make my own decisions.
Same, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we make our own decisions, but it's just, I had to come to the point to where I had to realize, hey, this isn't what I want to do. I love going out. I love having a good time. I love going to party, but it's just like, I can't be like this all the time. And I was just so up and down and everything. So when I had to separate myself from that, I think that was just like the hardest thing. That's honestly, I've never had a friendship end. And this is me being real. I've never in my life had a friendship end that hurt. I was just like, oh, you're a weird
exactly
bitch.
What I just told you. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I was just like, oh, you're a weird bitch. Like, no, I don't want no parts. But that one, that fucking got me, because, like I had said earlier, this person in the good relationship aspect, I literally genuinely, and I know it sounds crazy, but I really believe that in another life, like, that was my person.
Yeah.
Just because of that connection that we had. So it really sucks when those come to an end, because you almost feel like you've sort of like when, you're going through a breakup, you have to start over. You kind of feel like you've lost it. There was nights that I was crying myself to sleep, like, and I don't do that over losing friendships.
Yeah.
So it had to be something more than just like a normal friendship. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are invested into that person. You feel their emotions, they feel yours. And it's like, if they're upset, you soak away their pain, and vice versa, or just, so, and friendships like that can be good and that they can be bad. It's just, unfortunately, I was caught up in drugs, and that just don't mix.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But that person was always down, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't good, but that bitch was with the shit.
Hey, don't forget to follow me on social media: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever you want,